Hey everybody, it's Brooke with The Buttered Home and welcome to my messy kitchen. Today we have a warm, delicious keto comfort food for you. Today we're going to be sharing our easy, keto-friendly chili recipe that has no beans. So we're going to get started and show you exactly what to do. All right, so to a large stock pot, I'm going to add in 2 tablespoons, and I'm using avocado oil. Avocado oil is a very neutral, tasteless oil that can withstand high heat. So I tend to use it a good bit. And we're just going to get that started over medium to high heat. And to that, I have a 1/2 cup of diced celery, a 1/2 cup of diced onion, and a 1/2 cup of green bell pepper that I'm going to add in and just saute, just till it gets nice and soft. This recipe has about a 30 to a 40 minute cook time, so even if you just sweat these guys out and don't get them completely soft, that's just fine. So we're gonna get that started. Now just to kind of speed things up, I'm gonna hit those with a little bit of salt. Now I like to do things like chili and stews and whatnot in layers as far as the seasoning goes, because that kind of helps flavor things as you go, and you get more depth of flavor that way. So we're gonna sweat these guys out. And you'll notice they just start to glisten a little bit. Okay, now that they've started to soften, I'm going to add in 2 tablespoons of fresh minced garlic. And we're just going to let that cook for just a minute, keeping it moving so that it doesn't burn. This low-carb turkey chili has no beans, and I share a lot of different types of chili recipes that don't have beans. Beans are by and large really good for you. I'm not saying that they're not good for you, but if you're following a low-carb or a keto lifestyle, beans do have some level of carbs because they're high in fiber. All right, so now that that garlic has started to cook, we have 1 pound of ground turkey. And I like using turkey because it's lean, it's good for you. And you won't have to drain it. So that's a plus, right? So you don't have to mess up another dish. You could also use ground chicken in this, or a really lean ground beef. And you know, chili with no beans, and Big D will tell you, is real chili. According to him, real chili does not have beans. And if you go to Texas, people in Texas will tell you there's no beans in real chili. All right, I'm gonna just hit that with a little bit of black pepper. And a little more salt, because this ground turkey is so lean, it doesn't have a whole lot of flavor. And you just want to make sure that you use a good spoon or a meat masher and get that ground turkey good and broken up. Okay, while we make sure that this turkey gets cooked all the way through, we're going to start adding in some seasoning. And the first thing we're going to add in is about 2 teaspoons of chili powder, because it's chili. So we want a good bit of chili powder in there. And we're going to add in 1 teaspoon of red pepper flakes. Now, if you're sensitive to hot things, just leave this out. But if we're going to eat chili, it's going to be spicy around here. So we're putting in a whole teaspoon of those guys. 2 teaspoons of smoked paprika. That works with that chili powder to give it that nice smoky flavor that you expect in chili. And I'm going to get those red guys mixed in. Plus it was time to move the turkey. Continuing to break that ground turkey up the whole time. That way it ensures that it gets cooked all the way through before we start adding our liquids in. And you know, if you have people in your house like Big D who don't like the idea of ground turkey or ground chicken or things that are generally healthy for you, these are the best ways to cook them, I find, like taco meat, chilies, things like that that are heavy on the seasonings. You can kind of hide the fact that it's healthy behind all that. All right, again, here comes another hot component. We're putting in a little cayenne pepper. About 1/4 teaspoon. If you like more, then add more. If you like less, leave it out. Or use maybe 1/8 teaspoon. But that with the red chili flakes helps kind of give it more of that traditional chili feel. Now we're going to add in some more onion and garlic. Yes, I know we already have the fresh stuff in there, but the reason why I like to compound this with dried onion and garlic is because they tend to have a lot more flavor in them. So we're going to put about 1 teaspoon of onion powder and 1 teaspoon of garlic powder. Get those mixed in. All right, I'm going to turn that down to kind of simmer, and we're going to let that continue to brown. And then I'm going to go over to the oven. We're going to add an unexpected component to this dish that'll add a really nice creamy flavor and consistency to the dish. And I'm going to see if I can do this without burning myself. So I have a whole butternut squash here, and I have roasted it in the oven for about 40 minutes, and I'm just going to scoop it out of the skin, if I can do it without burning myself, because like I said, I just finished cooking it. And we're going to add it in. You want about 2 cups of that in there. And I'll tell you how I cut this guy. Okay, so all I did is I put my whole butternut squash in the microwave and set it to 4 minutes. And then I took it out carefully, and it cut just like a butter going through, a hot knife going through butter. Then I placed it on a sheet pan, oiled it, salt and peppered it, and roasted it in the oven for about 45 minutes. With just a little bit of oil at 425, and it came out very nice. And 1 whole medium-sized butternut squash will give you more than 4 cups of squash. So we add that 2 cups in, and now we're going to add in 1 cup of tomato sauce, 1 whole can of diced tomatoes, undrained, because we want that liquid. And then I'm going to give that a stir. And that butternut squash adds a little sweetness to the chili without actually adding any sugars. It's low glycemic, it's good for you, and it also adds a creaminess to the tomatoes and cuts a little bit of that acidity. So now we want to add in 1 cup of beef broth. On top of that, and just a little bit more pepper, and maybe 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Now I'm going to bring this back up to a boil and let it boil for just a minute. It shouldn't take long. There it goes. It's starting to pop on the side. So now I'm going to turn it down to low. Then we'll allow this to simmer. I may let it simmer for about 10 minutes uncovered, and then I'll cover it and allow it to simmer for about 30 more minutes. We'll taste it to make sure our seasoning is right and adjust at about the last 10 minutes. And then our chili will be served. So stay with us and we'll be back with finished keto-friendly chili. Hey everybody, we are back. We finished our 30 to 40 minute cook time. I have dished some out already to let it cool so that I wouldn't burn the hide off my tongue when I tasted it for y'all. And we are ready to show you this beautiful, easy, low carb turkey chili with no beans. Y'all, this cooked up fantastic. It's fine just like this, but if you're not necessarily watching what you're doing, you can have this over rice or over even spaghetti noodles, and it is fantastic. It has all the textures that you want in chili. That butternut squash adds a smoothness that you would normally get for the beans and a little sweetness from that. So now let's take a bite. And this is cooled, so I'm cheating just a little bit. It's so good. Those vegetables are cooked just enough that they add some texture to it. So a lot of people, whenever they cook chili without beans, they miss that texture that the beans actually put in. It's fantastic. Amy and I were talking during the break, and something I didn't think about that would actually be a better alternative than using the ground turkey is venison. So if you have some ground venison, and for all you Southern folks, that's deer meat, that's actually a leaner and much better option than turkey or chicken, and it has a ton more flavor. So if you have venison, the venison is fantastic for this as well. But you have just enough texture from those vegetables that we added in. They add flavor and texture where you would normally have that snappiness from the beans, so you really won't miss a thing. This no bean chili is the way to go if you're trying to watch your carb intake, or if you're trying not to raise your blood sugar unnecessarily. Recipes like this that have simple, tasty substitutions allow you to get more vegetables in your diet, which in turn can only help all of your organs function like they should. And when your organs function like they should, everything else kind of falls in line. So we hope that you'll try this easy, low carb, no bean chili, if I can get it all out. You know, my title is this long. And we hope that you love it just as much as we do. This recipe, like all of our others, can be found over at thebutteredhome.com. We would really appreciate you giving us a visit over there. Work real hard on that website. And you can get a free printable recipe card of this recipe and all of our others while you're there. Also, don't forget while you're there to sign up for our VIP email list. We send out email once a week that gives you a whole week's worth of dinners. And those are free to you too, and I promise never to spam your inbox. If you want all of our videos in one convenient place, head over to YouTube, search for The Buttered Home, and when you find us, hit that subscribe button and ding the bell so that you can be notified when we drop new videos like this one. Also, make sure you're following us on all of our social channels. I have a whole laundry list of stuff I got to get out here at the end before we wrap up. But we would love for you to be with us. We pop in live from time to time, and we would love for you to be with us no matter where we are. From all of us here at The Buttered Home to your home, we sure love y'all. Bye.